as somebody who's currently cutting right now and from my experiences from cutting within the past, I've realized there's two types of people when trying to get lean or even shredded. There's two types of people. One, the first person, person A, is the person that says, "Oh my God, I don't wanna. Oh my God, this is hard. I don't wanna do this. I don't wanna put in the work. I don't wanna put in the work. Um, can we get to 50% body fat and not leaner than that? I want to stop at 50% body fat. I don't want to go leaner than that because I can't do it. Oh, this is hard. How many weeks do we have left?" That person, that's the person that I don't really rate. I'm not gonna lie. This was kind of me in the past, and to be fair, I did this a little bit in my previous cut. But from this cut, I I didn't care less about how long it's gonna take for me to get to 10% body fat. And I'm still not even there yet, but I probably say I'm currently at 40-50% body fat right now, but I'm almost to my goal. But I don't really care how long it's gonna take for me to get to 10% body fat. As long as I get that result, yeah? That's this is what person B. This is what separates person A from person B. Person B is the person that, you know, is committed to be putting in any of the work that any coach tells them or anyone else, any other experienced person tells them. They are willing to put in the work. They ask for guidance, they tell them, tell me what I need to do for this week and I'll do it. Tell me how much code I need to be doing this week and I'll do it. No matter how hard life gets, no matter the circumstances, I'm still gonna be willing to be putting in the work. And no matter how hungry I am, I'm still going to control that. You know why? I've got that internal dog being developed on me, and I've got that belief that I'm going to get there. You know why? Because you've developed that internal dog within you. So the person is like, if they get hungry, I don't care how hungry I get, because this is where the discomfort comes. And every time you face a discomfort, you're like, this is an opportunity, just as an opportunity for me to grow. Whereas the person A would be like, "Oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. Can I take a refeed on this day? Can I have this little cheat meal to make myself comfortable?" Whereas person B avoids eating off plan, and they stick to they keep on going, they keep putting in the work, they keep pushing, especially for those last few weeks. Because you see right now with me within my cut, I'm starting to feeling it right now. I'm starting to feel it. But I'm still that's no excuse for me to not eat off plan, to end my cut, to get to my desire, to not get to my desired goal. Why is that? Because I've already set myself the belief, I've set myself the strong mindset, that internal dog within me. That internal dog within you, internally, is what helps you stay locked in. It's what helps you to lock in throughout the cut. Because once you develop that internal dog within you, and you remember the pain that you've worked through, and you've developed that internal dog that you've developed maybe in the past, or even if it's your first time, you'll be willing to be putting in the work. Why is that? Because you've developed your belief system. You need to, like, no matter the pain that you go through, you still smile. You know why? Because you already know what's going to be happening afterwards, after that hardship, after when life tests you, or even during when life tests you. This is where you need to be putting the smile on your face. Like yesterday, I had my shift. I was too tired to be doing my cardio. I didn't really feel like doing my cardio. But I was like, you know what, Banda, I'm still gonna do it. And once I was doing my cardio, I was smiling. I was picturing me at 10% body fat. You know why? Because I already set myself the internal dog, the belief within me internally, within my mind, telling me that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Which is why I always picture myself at 10% body fat. I blast some music on within my earphones, or AirPods, I should say, sorry, not earphones. Yeah. I always listen to music, and every time I listen to music while I do my 40 minutes of Stairmaster or even incline treadmill as well. But I'm talking about specifically for yesterday. When I was doing my cardio yesterday, boy, it was quite tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it wasn't fatigued, but it was still hard to be doing 40 minutes of cardio because cardio is very hard. It's harder than you think it is. I promise you that for a fact. But I was asking myself, it's hard for a reason. I said to myself, it's hard for a reason. I put a smile on my face whilst I was listening to music. You know why? Because I picture myself at 10% body fat. I'm picturing myself at 10% body fat, which is why I was putting myself a smile in my face. I was smiling. Obviously, I wasn't smiling for the entire cardio session, but there were periods within that cardio session where I was giving myself a smile, looking through the window, giving myself a smile, picturing myself at 10% body fat. Why is that? It's because I already set myself the belief. I've already set myself the internal dog within me based on my previous cuts, because I remember the mistakes I've been doing in my previous cuts. Eating off plan, not executing the cut properly, and just making progress for a few weeks and then falling off. But now I've learnt my lesson. I said to myself, this time within my cut is going to happen. This time is going to happen because I set the promise to myself that all I need to do is just to not eat off plan and don't do the mistakes that you've been doing back in the past. So there's going to be two types of people when trying to get lean. Don't be that person A, and make sure you're that person B. And this is why for me, physique is just the pride. Your 10% body fat physique or whatever leanness you're trying to get to. It's simply the byproduct of your hard work. It's like the trophy. In football when you win the World Cup. The trophy of the World Cup is simply the byproduct of your hard work. Like, you've worked hard to be getting the World Cup because you've put in the work. You believed that you can win the World Cup. This is the same way as getting lean or getting shredded or trying to get in shape. You've already set yourself the belief. You've put in the work, and you believe that you can get that result and get to your goal. So when it comes to getting shredded, you need to shift your mind and tell yourself that this is less about the physique and it's more about the man you need to become. The man who stays consistent. And what do I mean by this? The man you want to become is the person that stays disciplined, puts in the work, and still does the daily non-negotiables no matter the circumstances or no matter how hard life gets. They stay consistent, they're resilient, because getting into shape is what teaches you those things. Getting to 10% body fat is what teaches you those things. And this is why people who focus on the abs, focus on the six-pack, they focus on the physique, they don't get the result. You know why? Because they ignore the character traits that come with you trying to get into shape. And then this leads to them, giving up. Because if you just focus on the tactics and you don't focus on developing your mindset, focus on building your character, then it's going to make it harder for you to get into shape, because getting into shape is simply the byproduct of your hard work. So don't be person A, and be that person that's willing to put in the work, no matter how much cardio they need to be doing, no matter how much no matter the tool, no matter the tactics, they're still going to be doing the tactics. Obviously, fix your mind as well, because cutting is 99% of the cut, I promise you, especially when getting to 10% body fat. And this is what I've realized during my cut so far. It's more about the mindset and it's less about the tactics. I promise you that. So don't focus on the abs and focus on becoming that man, the man of discipline, the man who does the daily non-negotiables of doing the cardio, the steps, training, whatever it may be. Just be willing to be able to put in the work. Just enjoy the process, because this is not going to be happening forever. You're not going to be doing this forever. So if you just suffer now, you won't have to suffer again. And one thing I want to also make a note is, and this is why the people who really develop their internal dogs within themselves, so from from themselves mentally, from the mental side of their brain, when it comes to making money, business, or becoming a doctor. Once they become those type of people, they develop their internal dog, and hence why let's say if that person tries to get into shape with the help of someone, it'll be easier for them. You know why? Because they've already developed their internal dog from the mental side of, becoming that doctor, becoming that man who makes a lot of money, becoming that rich person. That's why it's easier for them to get into shape than the person who is just, or like even the other way around, the person who has developed their internal dog will get to 10% body fat. And when they develop that internal dog within them already, from getting to that 10% body fat, it'll make it easier for them to, build something else outside of it, like making money. They will start to believe that they can do that. You know why? Because they've already developed the belief system, the character traits that come with getting to 10% body fat: consistency, resilience. Because that's what 10% body fat teaches you. Or even losing, or even getting lean, whatever your goal is. But I believe every man should always aim to be the best and get to 10% body fat. But people don't have the internal dog within them to be getting to 10% body fat, which is fine. But just don't be that person that says, "Oh, I just want to lose this amount of weight in this specific time, and I don't want to get below 15% body fat." Don't be that person. When it comes to cutting and when it comes to getting lean, be that person that's willing to be putting in what it takes to get to your goal. Because the moment you acknowledge and you tell yourself that you're ready to be putting or whatever your coach gives you, that's when that's when you're going to be enjoying the process. If you find this video helpful, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If not, then the fact that you watch this video is good enough for me. I'll see you on the next video.